Before we start, I just wanted to intro you, Yvon. This is Yvon, or as I know him, Yvon the Hooker, which we will explain. And I met Yvon when I was up at Fairy Creek, when I was up at HQ camp on the weekend of July 17th, July 18th. And I was working the media tent on a Saturday night, taking down arrestee stories when I met a very energetic, very enthusiastic Yvon ready to tell his story. And honestly, when I heard your story, Yvon, I just knew that, more people have got to hear this. I think could inspire many, many people to go up to the blockades or at least contribute in any way that they can. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to chat with me.
Yeah, I really value these documents that you're doing because this is what's going to motivating people is the hardest thing. I would advise any kid, anyone younger than 73 years old, that's my age, anyone younger than that, think about the future. If you're going to have a life, if you're going to have kids, this is a cornerstone battle for human beings, really, for our survival. This is the motivation that pushes me to go over there, do something about it. It's the best legacy I could give to not just to my seven grandsons and my family, but also to all these other grandkids that are around and are looking for a good life too. The other thing I want to say is that getting arrested wasn't really the main thing for me.
Yep.
Um, getting arrested, I can afford to get arrested. Not everybody needs to be arrested.
Yeah,
Or
that's a great point.
I've done it because I could afford it. I'm an independent person. My house is paid for. My wife still loves me, and and I don't have any boss to please, so I'm a free agent. The
Yep.
other thing I think is important to mention here is that I felt that this forest situation was completely settled in '93 with the Clayoquot events.
Yeah.
I was there. I was arrested there too. We did a camping trip on Long Beach, and I think that one thing that affected me tremendously and nearly ruined the trip was the fact that I was seeing those clear cuts. When I saw
Yep.
the clear cuts, it just like it, my heart and soul just dropped. You need to
Yep.
understand all the points of views, not just the loggers, not just the environmentalists. You need to understand the economy. You need to understand First Nations, obviously, something that did not happen in '93 as
Yep.
much. Now it's happening, and they need to be incorporated into the paradigm, the dialogue that we have.
Honestly, Yvonne, I had the same feeling when I first went to Vancouver Island back in March for the first time. It's all very nice, in Victoria and Nanaimo. As soon as you start heading inwards, you start seeing the clear cuts. You were at the Clayoquot Sound protests in 1993, and now you're here at Fairy Creek in 2021.
I never thought I would get involved again with some activist action dealing with the forestry. Um, I like gardening and my dog.
Yeah.
So when I heard about forests, about Fairy Creek, and I just thought, my goodness, this Clydewood thing is not dealt with. We
Yeah.
are still in the same situation all these years afterwards. This is shameful
Yeah.
because, we should have been dealing with the forestry matter, with silviculture. This is crucial to our economy, and I'm not against loggers or logging. As a matter of fact, I am for loggers
Yeah.
because we need to provide sustainable jobs. There were
Absolutely.
90,000 workers in the industry in 20 years ago. We're down to 50,000 now. These companies, they care about shareholders. They don't care about communities. They pretend to care about communities, but the bottom line is money.
Yep.
And it's money being paid in the pockets of people who are not living in these areas here.
A lot of the people fighting for this forest are not against logging. We're for sustainable logging. And we know that there are ways to extract timber in a way that does not absolutely decimate the forest.
The logger was the enemy to some extent. But now First Nations are central to this situation. When we're talking about sustainability, we are talking about human beings who have been here for 10,000 years. They've sustained themselves, and we have completely removed them from the picture, from the collective picture where we live here in BC. And there's no bloody way that we can discard them, put them on the sideline anymore. This is over.
I couldn't agree with you more on that, Yvon. And
And
so, what I'll ask you about next is your experience at Waterfall Camp. How was your day? What happened? And how did you feel during your arrest?
when we arrived there, I was absolutely, completely mesmerized by the sight. We're so lucky at Fairy Creek to have this big open gravel pit. It's not a pit, but gravel base.
Mm.
And I was impressed, obviously, by the physical aspect of the place, but also by the people there. My goodness, the energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could go on about it.
You know, it's so reassuring to have people who have hope because we're faced with so much despair and people who are pessimists and cynical. And if we want to bust that cynicism, go to Fairy Creek because you're going to have people who are in love with life, in love with community, and a community who is strongly conscious about what's happening. And everyone has such an important job there. The people going on the front line, sure, but the people also digging shitholes and serving the community, that too is an important thing. All these people are doing such an important job because this is not a pyramid where the boss tells you what to do. It's a circle of people, and every single element of that circle is absolutely vital. So, if I could encourage people of your age to get some hope, to demolish cynicism, you bloody go there and stand, fight in a peaceful way, but fight with courage and find out why you're fighting about. So
Yeah.
I ended up lining up for the trip to the fall, and I didn't know exactly what to do there because it was again the middle of the night. Young people were busy carrying logs, pushing rocks, digging holes with crowbars and picks. I was absolutely, it was like a city at work.
When you got up there, what happened next?
Well,
What led you to eventually being in a hard block?
right. So I felt pretty useless, as I was saying, and I just decided just to walk up and down and see okay, what could I do here and be useful. So at one point there was some activities happening behind a tent in some park, and they were building a hard block there. And just a few minutes later, two RCMP showed up. These young people were pouring concrete in the block, and the RCMP starting giving hell to everyone, obviously. And the older RCMP guy, he should have known better at his age, um, started scooping out all the concrete, demolishing the work um, done by by a group of activists there.
Yep.
And I don't know, I just reacted out of pure instinct and pure defense there. In some sense, I felt like I was protecting my kids. And then suddenly, it's as if something was driving me, and I just went to the concrete and shoveled it back right in the hole. And I
Right in
kept
front of
on,
the cops.
and I kept on doing that, and the cops got pissed off with me big time. And one of them pulled his little notepad and he said, "Okay, you're under criminal arrest for impeding RCMP work." I
Which
ended
I
up,
believe isn't true, right? It's not a criminal charge that
no,
you
of
get up
course
there.
not. But the things that they will tell you anything to intimidate you.
Yep.
The uniform already is a form of intimidation.
Yep.
Uh, their um, their mannerism is also a form of intimidation. At that point I said, "Bring it on, come and get me."
Yep.
And because I went there to be arrested, and I'm again, as I said, it's not the main thing, being arrested, but I didn't mind being arrested. That's for damn sure. So for some reason, the other cop tried to reach out to grab my hand or my arm, and someone at the back must have pulled on my jacket, and I just went back and fell in the hole.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was in the whole group said, "Go limb, go limb, don't move. They're not gonna get you because there are two people only, and there's a whole bunch of people here. They need reinforcement to do that." And I just went limb. And the older cop said, "Okay, we're gonna get you tomorrow morning early." I said, "Bring it on. I'm ready for this kind of nonsense. You insulted the work of these young people who are looking for hope. You bring despair." And that was it. And they left And at that point, the whole crowd of kids there just went berserk. In any case, the next morning I was in that same ditch with a dragon, and I was at the bottom layer, and I put myself in the dragon and stayed there with four other people. So we
Yep.
were five people in that dragon for the whole night.
Yep. So you spent the night in the dragon, in
Felt
the
the
hole.
whole night in the dragon, totally awake, with the RCMP sort of coming and going and just trying to see, if they could get a hold of us in some ways. And at about 8 o'clock in the morning, they showed up with a jackhammer, with blade cutting, metal blade cutting instruments, and
The axle grinder.
yeah, they started digging and getting to us. It took them 6 hours. I couldn't unhook myself. But at that point, I had so much solidarity with the four other people there. I would have never ever left them on their own. I was part of it, and they had to deal with all five of us. And I was so proud of that too. We had built during the night so much camaraderie, so much friendship. I was taken by the RCMP, put in a pickup truck. They didn't handcuff me, and we just went through sort of a triage. And I was proud of myself, and I was proud of the people who I had spent all this time with. But they surely inspired me. I felt I was rediscovering my a bit of youth again.
Yeah.
And this is not bad at my age. My mind is still young. This is the advantage of having also older people going there. They have a responsibility towards the next generation. There's tons of jobs that could be done there. Tons of jobs. Just being there as a
Yeah.
support, just to smile to people and congratulate them on what they're doing. Bringing up
Yeah.
the spirit of people because that spirit needs to be maintained. This is a critical time right now.
I guess another question for you, Yvonne, would be what would you say to the cops that are up there?
That's interesting, you see. The first thing, I wouldn't tell them anything. I would listen to them.
Yeah.
I would like to hear what is their story,
Yeah.
why they're there. When you listen to people, it's totally unthreatening. They're holding the floor, you see, and that's the way they come out with their own motivations. They're just like anybody else. Some of them are excellent people. They went in the RCMP for all the good reasons. Some of them are jerks. Some of them are maybe psychopaths. Who knows? There
Yeah.
are some for sure. I mean, it tends to attract that kind of mentality at times. And then I would ask them, if they have questions about me. Why are you doing such an action at this point? Then I would explain, why I think that this is important. Why? Because of community building, because of survival, and it's about my grandkids. It's about my family. It's about you. It's about the people that I love and life altogether. If we want an economy, we bloody need to have an ecology. And you won't have any goddamn economy if the ecology is fucked up.
Yeah.
Pardon my language, but that's what should be said.
Just before you go, what would be the last thing you want to say to the people watching this video?
Well, I would basically tell them, look, connect with people who are doing this, and this is going to be a lifetime experience. Um, Fairy Creek is not just about old trees. Fairy Creek is not about just nature. It's about so much more. It's about people's lives. It's about our future. It's about the quality of life that we're going to give each other. And you know what? Quality of life is not something you take, you have to share with other people. When you start sharing your life with other people and you start giving, you will receive so much more. And fighting for nature, you'll never lose on that one. Never.
Well, thank you so much, Yvonne, for taking the time out of your afternoon to talk to me today. I'm hoping that your voice, which was so inspiring to me, can have an impact on others. So thank you so, so much for talking to me today.